Hey gang, welcome to another edition of Wisdom Wednesday. As you may have realized, it is the 1st of December, so we're playing Christmas music now because in this office I won't allow Christmas music until after Thanksgiving. So welcome to the Christmas season. Great holiday season stuff going on. We're going to talk a little bit about that today in our Wisdom Wednesday edition. But first of all, hope you had a great Thanksgiving with your families, and you may have noticed something has changed. The end of Thanksgiving was also, or the end of November was also the end of Movember, Men's Health Awareness Month, and so the mustache is gone. I actually had at least a half dozen people try to convince me to keep it because they thought it looked good. But two of them were banditos, anyway, I decided personally that it doesn't really make it a cause if I leave it on. So look for it to return next November. And looking forward to it. I might rock a whole beard next year instead of just the mustache. But thank you all for your support of Movember for the important men's issues, men's health issues, and I think it's a worthwhile cause. And I definitely will do it again, and we'll be running some promotions again next November. But let's move on to December and Christmas. The tip of the week this week, one of the things about holidays, starting with Thanksgiving, Christmas, although it's supposed to be joyous times of the year, also can be a little stress producing, especially for some people with family around. And so there's a lot more teeth grinding and teeth clenching going on when that irritating family member shows up that only comes every year at Thanksgiving or at Christmas. I don't have anybody like that in my family, but I know some. I've heard the stories. So anyway, if you're out there, the first thing to do is try to de-stress yourself if you can. If you can't, if they're just that irritating, or a fight breaks out about the President of the United States or something like that, it's CVS, Walgreens, a lot of the bigger pharmacies and grocery store chains over in the dental section, they sell generic mouth guards. $35, $40, you can buy a fairly decent one. They don't always, they're kind of one size fits all. They're not made to treat your TMJ issues once and for all, but they'll at least get you through a holiday period. You can boil them in water and put them in your mouth and bite down on them, and it'll custom fit it. Most of my patients say they skip that step and just take it out of the box, rinse it all, put it in when they're going through those nights where they know they're going to be clenching and grinding. So that's a little tip that you can try out. Simple, effective, and it is the advice is what you paid for it. So anyway, our big topic today at Austin Dental Spa is going to be teeth whitening. It's a subject that's near and dear to my heart because one of our mottos at Austin Dental Spa, we want our patients to have the whitest, healthiest teeth in Austin, Texas. And so I've been involved in the teeth whitening industry for most of my 38-year career. Back 30 years ago, the preferred way to do teeth whitening was to make little custom trays that we took an impression, made a retainer very similar to what an orthodontist makes at the end of orthodontic treatment, and you filled it with a gel and put it in your mouth. That has become much more sophisticated in recent years, but it's still limited in its effectiveness. You have to wear it every night in order to get any kind of result at all. And some people don't get as much of an effect as they would like, and yet they put all the effort in. Some other people also get some sensitivity from wearing those trays all night long. Now they have materials that you only have to wear for 30 minutes. That addresses a lot of the sensitivity. Manufacturers have learned to put desensitizers into the gel so that it's desensitizing at the same time it's whitening. So they've gotten much more powerful, but the limiting factor on those is the same as Crest White Strips and some of those other products. Anything that they sell over the counter that you can get on your fingers or on your lips without causing any damage is also going to be limited in its effectiveness. So Crest White Strips basically somebody comes in telling us they use Crest white strips, but they didn't work. All they're doing is telling me they'd like to have whiter teeth. And so that's a slow pitch in my world, because the Crest white strips generally are not going to get people significantly whiter, even if you use them every day. And unfortunately, I don't know whether Crest does this on purpose or not, but in most people's mouths, they only cover about 5.5 teeth. And most people show at least 8 when they smile. So it's not necessarily going to get all the teeth as white as what you'd like them, unless you put 2 of them in there at the same time. And the trays, a little more effective because they cover the whole arch, uppers and lowers. You can bleach both arches at the same time. But what I've found over the years is that the home trays are more for maintenance, to keep you as white as you are right now for a longer period than if you didn't use them, but they're not really going to kick you up into a noticeable level. The best way to do that, for 20 years now, we started out as Bright Smile, now it's called Zoom. The company's merged. It was founded by the dentist Bill Dorfman in Hollywood, that was the executive producer on the Extreme Makeover show that ran in the late 90s and early 2000s for about 10 years, where they took people from the trailer parks of Iowa and made them all nice and beautiful, and he made sure that they at least had whitening done, and in the later years he wouldn't take anybody unless they needed full veneers, because he wanted to get the biggest bang for his buck out of the dental section of it. But Zoom is the most effective whitening material that I have found. We use it 2 to 3 times a day. Routinely, it gets people 6 to 8 shades whiter than they walked in the door with. You're in and out in an hour and a half to 2 hours at the most. And we make you the home trays just as a little bonus gift. Use them if you want, don't use them if you don't want. But if you want to try to keep them whiter for as long as you can, we provide the trays for you as a little no-charge gift as part of the deal. Zoom whitening's $395 right now in our office. So we ran it as a holiday special about 3 years ago, and it was so popular, we just kept it at that price. So they're great stocking stuffers as well. Some people come in and buy gift certificates. We can print up gift certificates, and you can put them in your loved one's stocking stuffer. And just be careful, you don't want them to start looking better than you. And so so you might want to do it yourself and then buy a gift certificate for somebody else. There's very low level of sensitivity, especially since they came out with a variable level intensity on these newer lights about 1.5 years ago. So if you're starting to get some sensitivity, we can lower the intensity of the light. But that light is an LED light. They used to be blue plasma, now they're LEDs. I'm not going to turn it on because it would probably burn up the iPhone. But that light gets put right close to your mouth. There's a little attachment that pulls your lips out of the way and attaches to that light. So it's about 3 inches from your teeth. We put the bleaching gel on, and we do at least 3 15-minute sessions with the bleaching gel, because we found that every 15 minutes or so you need to suction that gel off and put a fresh layer on to get the best result. Some people go an extra 4th session. Doesn't cost you any more if you decide to do that. But most people, the vast majority, probably 85 to 90%, 3 sessions and they're perfectly happy. And that's about an hour and a half. And like I said, your teeth will get 6 to 8 shades whiter. We've had a few big wins that went from the darkest shades, like mahogany shade, to actually a pretty decent white shade, 15, 16 shades whiter in an hour and a half appointment. Those are the big wins. We don't expect those, but we do see them from time to time. Now, there are a few people that grew up out in West Texas and had that really thick, dense enamel, or people who, unfortunately, when I was a kid in the 60s, penicillin came out, and they found that some people were allergic to penicillin, so tetracycline came out in the mid-60s as the new wonder drug, treated everything from acne to upper respiratory infections. So a lot of us as kids had tetracycline, may have saved our lives, but then our teeth started coming in. Not mine, but I have a lot of peers in my age group that had tetracycline stained teeth, and they come out with little horizontal striations of different shades of yellow and brown. not very attractive. Used to be the only way you could treat tetracycline staining was to put crowns or veneers over the front of the tooth. A lot of times you couldn't even do veneers because that tooth underneath was so dark that it would show through the veneer. So they had to be full crowns. And a lot of people didn't want to go to that expense or that effort in their mouths. So mainly it was an expense issue, but we have found about 5 years ago Core Whitening, K-O-R. You can look it up online. It was developed by a dentist out in California who had tetracycline stained teeth, didn't want to do veneers because his teeth were otherwise healthy. And he was upset that the Zoom whitening didn't work on him, so he hired away one of their top scientists and gave him an unlimited budget to study bleaching and how to do it more deeply than the Zoom process. And they actually developed a technique that we've been using for just over 5 years now. We've taken dozens of tetracycline stained patients and made their teeth almost as white as mine. They're ecstatic with the result. It's a little more labor intensive. It takes 3 weeks from start to finish. There's a 2-hour session in the office, 3 weeks of wearing the trays at night, and then another 2-hour session in the office after that. But the results are nothing short of phenomenal. You can check out the website online. I believe it's www.corewhitening.com, K-O-R. But they have before and after pictures that when I first saw them 5 years ago, I said, no way, those have been photoshopped. But now we have our own sets of before and after pictures. Pretty phenomenal. And so that's something, if you didn't know about it, it's a godsend to people who have tetracycline stained teeth and do not need or otherwise want to have veneers done. So keep that in mind. That's the only way you're going to get a white Christmas in Austin, Texas this year. The weather dropped down. We got a cold front this week. It dropped down to 65. Actually 50 last night, but that's about as cold as it gets in Austin most years. And if it does drop to freezing, it's usually only for a day or two. So we have to watch White Christmas on TV and listen to Bing sing about it. We don't see snow here very often. So this is a great way to have a white Christmas, is whiten those incisors up and go smile at everybody, and they'll be talking about you behind your back at the Christmas parties because you look 10 years younger. And so it's not a bad way to go through the holidays. So hopefully that was helpful information, and I look forward to another version of Wisdom Wednesday next Wednesday. Merry Christmas.